Hi everyone, this is Mindy and welcome back to my channel. In tonight's video, I'm going to be doing an embossed resist technique using my Nuvo shimmer powders. I haven't used these for a while and thought they would be a great technique for these snowflakes. Now here is my original card I created. It is very dramatic in the background, but you can see how those colors really vary on the snowflakes. And the stamp set I'm using to do this is the Glistening Snowflakes from Simon Says Stamp. So I'm going to try and recreate this card for you. I am using some Distress watercolor cardstock. This is the smooth side, and I'm lining up these snowflakes on the front of the cardstock in my Misty tool. I'm trying to just pull them straight down to try and get those strings that are attached to the snowflakes as straight as I can. So when I die cut, everything lines up. I'm prepping the cardstock with an anti-static powder tool, and then inking up the snowflakes in the Simon Says Stamp white pigment ink. I'm going to just gently press these down onto my cardstock because I really don't want to squish those strings that the ornament or the snowflakes are attached to. And then to make sure I have a good impression, because it's really hard to see on the cardstock, I'm going to stamp it one more time. Especially since my cardstock didn't move, everything should still be perfectly lined up. Then I'm going to take some white detail embossing powder and sprinkle that over all of my area that I just stamped, kind of shake that a little bit on the cardstock to make sure it really set in, and then tap off the excess. Now I have my heat tool warming up off on the side for quite a while, and then I'm going to come to the back real quick, make a quick sweep, and then come over to the front, and it's going to melt the embossing powder super quick, which is good because the less time I'm spending on the cardstock with the heat, the less chance of it warping. I'm taping my cardstock down to just a wooden board. This is a cutting board, I believe I just picked up somewhere, and I'm going to be using Blue BLITZ and Cherry Bomb Nuvo shimmer powders. So the first thing I want to do is wet my cardstock. I'm just using my distress sprayer that I have filled with water. And then I'm going to just gently tap on some of this color. You don't ever want to squeeze it, just gentle taps. And then I'll bring in the Blue BLITZ. Now, the reason I chose these two colors versus like the purple Nuvo shimmer powder is because I wanted some pink, I wanted some blue, and then I wanted the mix. So by using these two colors, I'm going to get that. So after I sprinkled on the powder, I'm wetting this again and kind of tilting my board, letting that water move around and mix. It wasn't quite mixing as well as I wanted, so I'm just taking a paintbrush and I'm going to help that along. But I do want to leave some areas in there that are really kind of settling in to my embossed areas. Now, as I'm tipping and the water's running, I'm just going to help kind of dab up that water so there's not so much sitting at the bottom or on my cardstock. Then I have my Wagner. This is just a heat tool that diffuses heat really well, and I'm just going over that to help speed up the drying process. Normally, I would let this air dry, but because I'm doing a video and I'm short on time, I want to just kind of help that drying process move along. And then after I remove it from my board, I can once again go over it until this background is completely dry. What I really love about this technique with the powders is some of those different colors are really settling in to those embossed areas, and that just is what makes it so special. Now I'm taking the coordinating die and I'm going to line these up as best as I can and hold it down with my Spellbinder's Best Ever craft tape. Now this largest snowflake, I did not get that string very straight, but I'm going to just let that go. I'm not going for perfection. As long as my snowflake lined up really well, that's all I'm really happy about. So after I have all of my dies secured down, I'm going to run that through my die cut machine and start working on my ink blended background. For this, I'm using 80-pound smooth weight cardstock that is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm starting with GUAVA ink from Simon Says Stamp using a flat blending brush. I started at a corner and kind of had it fade off into white, and then I'm bringing in Amethyst. Now this is going to fade off into the pink. The reason I chose these two colors was because it matched so well with the colors in my snowflake. Now I kind of lost my pink a little bit, so I'm going to come in really light-handed towards the bottom there. But I wanted to amp up the contrast a little bit in the corner. So I'm bringing in that amethyst again, coming in a little heavier handed just around those corners. The sentiment I'm going to use comes off of the Christmas Blessings stamp set. I absolutely love this stamp set. So I have the stamp and the coordinating die for it that cuts out all of these sentiments. I inked this up in a VersaFine black ink and just gently stamp that down. Then I want to add splatters to my background. So I'm going to kind of let that dry for a minute because VersaFine does take a little while to dry. Then I'm going to cover up that sentiment with some Post-it tape, and I'm going to bring in some of the Glimmer Metallic in white and liquid Stardust. And I'm also going to add a couple drops of water to each. I'm mixing that up with my paintbrush, and I'm going to splatter this on my background. I'm very famous for not cleaning my paintbrushes very well, so it did my Glimmer Metallic ink turned pink a little bit, which is fine. It actually matched my background pretty well. So while that splattered background is drying, I am die cutting out these snowflakes once again, just from some heavy white cardstock. This is about 110 pound. I die cut each one twice and layered together with liquid glue. I wanted to build up layers in my snowflakes to really have them stand out from the background. It would also be fun, I think, if you had maybe one snowflake was just one layer, maybe another one was 2 layers, and kind of vary the dimension between them. I'm going to bring them over to my card front that is now dry and adding these to the front with liquid glue. Now, normally I would have a snowflake kind of hanging off of the edge, but I loved this snowflake so much I could not bear to cut it. So that one is just coming down a little ways. Each one is hanging off the top of the card a little bit. And then once everything is secured down, I'm going to take my scissors and just trim off that excess from the very top. After I attach this to an A2 size card base, I am going to embellish it, and I'm using the iridescent clear drops from Pink Fresh Studio. These are one of my new favorite embellishments, and I'm using my new Gina K Designs pickup tool to just pick them up, add a dab of glue, and then secure those down. Now, here is that original card I created, and you can see the difference. The reason I was so dark on my first one is because my snowflakes were so dark. So I kind of matched to how the shimmer powder reacted in my snowflakes. I kind of matched the background to those snowflakes. Now, this is just one of the many designs that are on that snowflake stamp set, and I plan on playing with each one of them. All of my supplies will be listed down below in the video description and over on my blog as well. And I also have a couple other card projects over there featuring the stamp set. Thanks for stopping by. See you soon.